It's the first show of the new year, and the Captain and Tennille do it right. With their guests Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr., John Biner, Muhammad Ali, and Joe Namath. It's the new 1977 Captain and Tennille.
You are the apple of my eye, yeah. Forever you...
Danny, sounds like you've accidentally invented a thermochemical energy source.
A scientific wonder becomes a nightmare.
Someone's walking around with enough explosive to turn the city into a pancake.
A power that could mark the beginning of the end for the $6 million man.
It's happening all around the house, right about now.
I'd like a Triscuit.
I'd like a Triscuit.
I'd like a Triscuit. I know my family, and when they'd like a snack, they'd like a Triscuit wafer.
Great with cheese.
Or with a dip.
Neat with jam. Or just by themselves. And they really are good. Triscuit wafers, they're made from 100% natural whole wheat. And that's good, too.
A Triscuit baked only by Nabisco.
There's one thing that Pete would just as soon eat every day of his life. He really goes for those noodles, so I give him the Campbell life. Pete's idea of the perfect lunch is any lunch with Campbell's Chicken Noodle-O soup. There's lots of chickeny flavor and little round noodles for him, but not a lot of work for me.
That's noodle okay.
Give me the Campbell life.
Now, here is a corn lover, and there's nothing more gratifying to a corn lover than to know that her mother has given her delicious Del Monte family-style corn. More people eat it than any other corn like it. It's a special strain developed to be sweet and tender. And when a corn lover is eating Del Monte corn, she probably doesn't need to hear me talking about how good it is, right? Well, then I'm just going to go into the living room and talk about corn to the sofa.
Nothing's too good for Daddy and me. Mom brings Del Monte home.
Use FinalNet for 5 good reasons. 1, FinalNet is not an aerosol. It's concentrated with a hold that really lasts. 2, it holds without stickiness. 3, it goes where you want it. 4, FinalNet has no aerosol propellants. 5, this much FinalNet goes as far as this much aerosol. Use non-aerosol FinalNet. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Almond Joy's got nuts, Mounds don't. Almond Joy's got real milk chocolate, coconut and munchy nuts too. Mounds got deep dark chocolate and chewy coconut. Ooh. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Peter Paul, Almond Joy's got nuts, Peter Paul, Mounds don't.
Plus, now there's also a new Mounds with creamy rich milk chocolate.
This is a cubic foot. There are 5 more of these inside the new Chevrolet than there are inside this year's older style full-size cars of Chevy's nearest sales competitor. That's based on U.S. government estimates of vehicle interior size as reported in the 1977 EPA Guide for New Car Buyers. The new Chevrolet with 5 more cubic feet of room. It stacks up beautifully. Now that's more like it.
Look, Linda, I just bought a new seamless support bra that's so beautiful. I have to show you. Oh, better show you this way. It's the Playtex Support Can Be Beautiful bra, and it's seamless. Don't you love these pretty details? And these smooth, seamless cups. Plus this secret support designed for real support. And you know, it's so pretty. It makes me feel pretty. The new seamless Support Can Be Beautiful bra from Playtex. Support can be beautiful.
America's classic thrillers come to life. The Hardy Boys' Nancy Drew Mysteries. An adventure into suspense.
There's got to be a way out of here. You used to go with her? Forget that.
Oh, Professor, do ghosts leave footprints?
The adventures of America's favorite young detectives come to television.
Follow that ghost.
The Hardy Boys' Nancy Drew Mysteries.
he has a second name. It's M-A-Y-E-R. Oh, I love to eat it every day. And if you ask me why, I'll say, 'cause Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
Oscar Mayer, the first name in Bologna.
How's that?
File for M under for mankind. That's right. Sorry, prostate. It's Friday night. You know what that means? It's time for the CREEM STREEM. It's time to get creamy, fam. And yeah, it's been a week. We have a new president. The reason that I wanted to title this episode "Joe Biden is the President of the United States" is so there wouldn't be that fucking gray little strip at the bottom saying that. Okay. All right.
Good idea.
Yeah, exactly. Getting ahead of the fucking curve here, people.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So and yeah. So yeah. All right. So we got a loaded house tonight, people. Sorry, prostate. All right. Like I said that before. I know who I am. Do you know? Somebody just donated something. Let me check it out. Amen, says JP. All right. Well, amen.
Hey,
and a woman. Right?
Yeah, we can't say
a
that.
person.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
How dare There's no gendered language coming out of Congress
That's
anymore.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Oh, unless you're Nancy Pelosi and then you're what's the word I'm looking for? You're allowed to
exempt.
Be everything that you actually aren't.
Persons who menstruate. You know.
Actually, that's considered gendered now because now only some women have their periods.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I'm about to have mine.
My special name for Pelosi is Waxy Pelosi, given how shiny her skin is. Good.
Oh, I call her Fancy Pants.
Yeah.
She does kind of look like a mannequin.
You ever seen the original movie, The House of Wax?
Yes.
Yeah. I can imagine it. You know, he's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy
like,
shit.
Did she fall out of a movie and now she's Speaker of the House all of a sudden?
Yeah, no shit.
And her facial expression came out of a syringe, so.
And it hasn't changed since 2011.
True.
Nah, she's been walking around since 2011 looking like she just smelled a big handful of shit, so.
Yep.
Ever since they pushed Obamacare through the first time and every Democrat in the House got plastic surgery at the same time, remember that?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is hilarious because that's hilarious because as far as medical care goes, as members of Congress, they have free medical care through Walter Reed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they all went and got plastic surgery. Yes, it does. It covers whatever they want. They have full everything. But they all got plastic surgery right about the same. It was like everybody came out with better faces and dyed hair. It was so weird.
Yeah.
And her face hasn't changed. It's just kind of slid farther down.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the super chat, Pink Call of the Driving Ape Man. What's happening, dude? Happy belated birthday, wife. Thank you very much. And I got another birthday donation here in from the one and only Stone Monkey. Says, happy birthday, R8. Get yourself something nice on me. And I appreciate fucking ate it. That was awesome. Yeah. It's been, y'all made me feel good yesterday. Yesterday was my birthday. But, you know, it was like, I don't know, I was just having a totally shit day. And then it got better, and then it got a lot better. And then my niece sent me a text and made me cry. So, yeah, it was good. And you know, it's good, in a good kind of cry, you know? So, yes, I'm sensitive. I'm a sensitive person, too.
Oh, you're so sensitive, I please. Stop it.
Well, it's
I
Brian's.
think they make a condom for that.
Yeah.
Well, how? Sorry, go ahead.
We're not.
I was to say, how many Aquarians are in this crowd? Because,
Indeed.
like, you're an Aquarius. My youngest daughter's an Aquarius. My husband's an Aquarius. My grandfather's an Aquarius.
My mom.
Yeah.
I'm on the cusp. I'm a Pisces on 20th of February, so I'm a little of both.
I am also a Pisces.
Friday.
Pisces rule, man.
That's right.
My other grandfather's a Pisces.
Yeah.
Nice.
Water and fish, dude.
It's just crazy.
Goes together.
Gotta love any zodiac sign that gives you permission to be weird and crazy.
There you go.
Indeed. And since we, since the generous donations, thank you. I will go ahead and avert the
Give it back now.
demon tranny.
Oh God, save us all, please. No, please no demon training.
Oh.
No, we already nuked to that.
Okay, because it feels like I should have the "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend" song playing when I see it.
Damn.
Only if it's the 5-finger death punch version.
I don't want to go to work tomorrow.
I'm sorry.
Let me introduce everybody before we get rolling on here. Since we've been consuming time in a very effective manner, I believe, in a good way. Let everybody say hey to Tim of the Hunt.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. The one and only Becca Fairley.
Hey, guys.
And tonight's guest hanging out with us tonight is Mr. Moonshock.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Roasted Opinions, say how.
Hello, my freakly darlings.
Trippypoop.
Hello. Is it me, Betty?
And the one and only Stone Monkey.
I'm going by the streamer formerly known as Stone Monkey.
Okay. The streamer formerly Stone, yes.
The smoke.
The symbols.
Smoking.
I got it. Yeah, definitely.
Someone said that earlier today, and I was just like, I'm fucking rolling with that. That's good.
There you go.
So we're talking about say hey to the chat. Welcome aboard. Yeah, we're at a solid mundane. I like it.
I forgot.
We'll go to the back here. Yes, sir.
We need to start. We need to start the trend of hashtag poop your pants for Biden.
Hashtag poop your pants for Biden. Explain the meaning of that to me, please. JP, greetings. Dr. Kiev.
There is real no meaning behind it other than the fact that I always like to say I poop my pants.
Spectrumbra.
I'm trying to be a troll, so I want to see if I can get this shit going.
Okay.
For shits and giggles.
Indeed.
To me, it just sounds funny.
Jack Unsky, JP again. Hello. Roasted, I see Roasted in there, man. Sir Adamantine, Fat Andy. Hey, what's up, man? Bob, Grill and Power Pete. I salute you. Aircraft Sparky. What's up? Thumbs up and a snap. All right.
Hey, Sparky.
FTW NILL. I don't know, but FNIL. I don't know. Thumbs up. How you doing, Johnny Bonsaco? Greetings, man. All right, we got a full house tonight. Who have I missed? If I missed you, just say
Check your logic.
Undead Ramen. Greetings. Check your logic. What's up? All right, and Piccolo, of course. Greetings.
Jakunski, hello.
Yes, Jakunski.
Yeah, we can send his name.
Oh,
yes,
I just saw his name pop up.
And
It's the
Pear to
first
Bear.
time I've seen it.
All right, Pear to Bear and FTW Neil. All right, I got you. All right, fam, and on that note, we're going to go ahead and you want to queue up the videos? Or is anybody, all right, first of all, is everybody's week been okay?
Yeah.
Weird.
I was getting better. I'm getting better.
Given everything that's happened, I'm glad it's over.
Right?
Right.
I hope there's a movie where Trump isn't the bad guy for once.
Yeah.
One movie, just one.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I got
I
got old really fast too, didn't it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They're still trying to go after him, right? But yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say, yeah. How's the chat's week been doing? You know?
Chat, how you doing?
Real to everybody else as it has been to me, because I felt like I'm walking into a whole different world this week than the normal world. Like, it's felt like I'm watching everything through a video screen. It's very hard to make like a solid contact with the news you're reading. And
well, it's because racism's over. It's so crazy because racism's just over.
Unless you're in the military, apparently.
Well, it's over though.
Man.
So that got another white guy in the White House.
No,
means racism's over.
all the problems just are magically disappearing.
Yeah.
We'll it's time to ease restrictions.
Right up until the point where he said, "There's really nothing that we can do to change the trajectory of this disease."
Nah.
To me, that just says lockstep.
Who knew that putting a token in the White House would solve all the world's problems?
Yeah.
Well, they did it. They did it for 8 years. So
that's good. You beat me to it, Tama. You beat me to it.
Sorry,
I'm
right. Sorry. That was a low blow, but really, I've never heard anybody say and as much as Obama.
We're sliding to the TV. Remember?
He loves to go if.
Ring that bell.
Yeah, you don't even have to do like a skipping track kind of thing. You just have to put on a section of Obama trying to talk, and it sounds like that black guy from the Police Academy movies.
Oh, jeez. Carl, no.
Michael Winslow?
I think so. I think so. That sounds right.
Yeah, Mike, it's
Carl Winslow.
It's into this great Jimi Hendrix thing. Yeah, and he was great.
Cheech and Chong movie?
Yeah. Well, he was a comedian, and that's what his whole deal was.
Making
noises,
just
his whole fucking, it would be like 15, 20 minutes of him just doing noises. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Really funny motherfucker.
Hell
yeah.
Yes, indeed. All right, so let's look. All right, we'll start with Tucker. Buckle up, tuckle up, tuckle up, fam. Stop it, Brian.
Okay,
yeah, Brian's on here.
My mouth guard's in. Hit me.
Just for Becca's favorite, Brian will be. He's coming up soon, so.
Yay!
Yeah, get your reservations.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. It's weird to say it, but this is the last day of the Trump administration. If you supported Donald Trump, that's a sad thing to face after 4 years. On the other hand, if you didn't support Donald Trump, if you're one of the many in our professional class who have made hating Donald Trump the very center of your life, this has got to be a pretty good day for you. You won. Your party now has control of everything. By tomorrow afternoon, Donald Trump will be gone for good. You got exactly what you wanted. You should be thrilled about that. You ought to be celebrating. But they're not celebrating. That's the remarkable thing. No one in the Democratic Party seems happy tonight. They're angrier than ever. Instead of taking victory laps, they are plotting revenge against the people they just beat. They're thinking of new ways to injure and humiliate and degrade their political opponents, make it impossible for them to work again, throw them in jail, destroy their lives. It's hard to describe how weird and strange and awful this is to watch. Imagine winning a tennis match in straight sets, then immediately leaping over the net and smashing your opponent in the face with your racket. It wasn't enough for you to win. You had to inflict physical pain. You couldn't be happy until another human being screamed in agony. What kind of person would do that? Well, the kind of people we're watching now, the kind of people who are even more vicious when they win. The leaders of the Democratic Party have now decided that 74 million Trump voters weren't just wrong or misguided. They didn't simply back the wrong guy or have incorrect opinions or fail to see the obvious truths. No, the threat they pose is graver and more serious than that, more dangerous. These 74 million Trump voters are in fact terrorists. They're a looming physical threat to the rest of us, and we must deal with them in the way that you deal with threats like that, existential threats to the nation. Saddam Hussein, al-Baghdadi, Kim Jong-un, Donald Trump's voters. For years they told us this country had been infiltrated by Russian spies, but now we know it's worse than that. The real threat, the actual enemy, is within. In the end, it always is. 74 million deviationists lurk in our midst. They look like normal people, but ladies and gentlemen, do not be deceived. They are Trotskyites. They're wreckers, kulaks. We must root them out. It'll take a war to do that, an actual war, a war on our own people. To make that point as clear as possible, the Democratic Party has marshaled military leaders to deliver the news. They're the party's spokesman now. General Stanley McChrystal is among them. McChrystal, in case you don't remember, is the strategic genius who can take credit, if you can call it that, for running the longest losing war in American history, the one in Afghanistan, the war that's still going. Yesterday, McChrystal took a break from collecting fat corporate directors' fees to note that, based on his extensive experience mismanaging America's foreign policy, Trump voters look an awful lot like terrorists, an awful lot. Quote, I did see a similar dynamic in the evolution of al-Qaeda in Iraq, McChrystal said, where a whole generation of angry Arab youth with very poor prospects followed a powerful leader who promised to take them back to a time, to a better place, and he led them to embrace an ideology that justified their violence. This is now happening in America. Al-Qaeda in America. Thanks, Stan. Sometime when you can manage to spare a moment from getting rich from your failures in America's decline, we'd love to know exactly what did happen in Afghanistan. What went wrong there, when you have time. Until then, though, Andy McCabe would like to put a finer point on the matter. You remember Andy McCabe. He's the former high-level FBI official who was canned for lying and corruption, a model federal employee. So when Andy McCabe speaks, you can hear the moral authority in his voice, gravelly and resonant like cigarette smoke. You're going to want to listen carefully to what Andy McCabe has to say. According to Andy McCabe's considered judgment, Donald Trump's voters are very much like ISIS. Listen to this.
When we looked at those Americans who traveled to Syria for the purpose of joining the Islamic State, when you put all those faces and names down in one place, you had doctors, lawyers. Some people are very vulnerable to and drawn into that core why of any extremist movement, and that is exactly what we're seeing now with this particular group of Trump supporters.
Wait, American National Security official Andy McCabe is telling us they're like ISIS, Islamic State in Syria? Aren't those the wild-eyed lunatics who beheaded journalists and set all those people on fire and then videotaped themselves doing it? Wow, that's terrifying. That's right, Mr. and Mrs. America. What we didn't tell you before was that ISIS was for Donald Trump. That's why they were murdering so many people. They were the Syrian branch of MAGA. You may have heard it was some kind of Islamic thing. Come on, that's racist. It was Donald Trump all along. Now, those people are in this country, in Dallas and Sarasota and Newport Beach, everywhere. They're hiding in plain sight. God knows what they will do next. Actually, we do know. Another 9/11. That's what they're planning. And that's why we need a new 9/11 commission to root them out. But thankfully, Commander Pelosi is planning one right now.
Yeah. He came out of the fucking barrel fired up, man. Any comments so far?
No.
Dude. Hey, what's up,
Hi,
BP?
Hey, BP.
Happy birthday, my friend.
Thanks, man. Glad to see you. You're buried in the mix here. I don't know. Let me pop you up. All right. You loud. Say hey.
Hey.
There you go. Hey, there you go. Cool. Yeah, man. Man, he was just on a roll, man. Just like, just hammering that shit. I was like, goddamn. Man, it's been a really fantastic week. If you love this dude's riff, because man, he's on fire. He's got some great writers. I don't know who the fuck they are, but they're good.
They do a fine job.
Indeed.
He did make a good point about the Dems. They have all the power now, but they're still not happy.
It's not enough, man. Exactly. No shit.
What in the hell is going to make them happy from here?
What do you think, man?
Well, having every Republican.
Yeah,
string up every person that doesn't agree with them.
Yes,
exactly. That's what they
re-education camps. It's all right.
When they have the
what can we say?
When they have the presidency, the vice presidency, 100 senators, and 435 representatives, then they'll start to be happy, but only right after they pack the court.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have to They have to completely erase all those that have the wrong think. Because all we do is get in their way. So
we make them think about logic.
Yeah,
that makes them mad.
That's kind of our job.
Yep.
Right?
It's amazing.
It's like those idiots on Twitter that are talking about how the 50-50 split in the Senate is unfair because the 50 Democrat senators represent 41 million more people than the 50 Republican senators.
Fuck them.
And, you have to remind them that basic civics class teaches you that the senators actually represent the states, not the people that live in those states.
Exactly. But, be damned if you try to point them in the direction of reading what the purpose is and why it's done certain ways.
Yeah, God forbid they know the rules.
Exactly.
Much less obey them. All right, we'll keep going.
Watch.
There was strong interest in the Congress in a 9/11 type commission.
A deep look in a 9/11 style commission to really get to all of what happened. Yeah, they need a 9/11 type commission of inquiry.
Along the lines of a 9/11 commission.
A 9/11 type commission.
And hopefully an independent 9/11 style commission will look at.
I think this is a big enough threat, an attack on the center of our democracy, that it's going to need a look that spans branches of government, something closer to a 9/11 commission.
Well, I think we know they're on the same email chain, but that doesn't change the substance of what they just told you. Did you hear Jim Comey, another noted moral authority? What Jim Comey told you is that
What?
Sorry, I think Jim Comey should be wearing orange.
Yeah, no doubt.
Bright orange
No
jumpsuit.
doubt, yes.
How the hell did I get this playing? That's weird.
Man.
I gotta turn BP up. She was quiet just then.
I've got some weird shit playing in my ears that I don't think is what you guys are watching, and I can't make it stop.
What does it sound like?
Like old-time commercials.
That's weird.
Like a cereal commercial.
Oh, are you watching the start of the stream?
I might be.
Yeah, you probably watching the. Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, the countdown. I'm doing commercials instead of music now.
Oh. Except now I can't make it stop.
Shit.
Like I may have to close Discord and come back.
Okay, we'll be here.
Okay, I'll be right back.
All right.
happened in Washington on January 6th, the Chewbacca guy stumbling around the House floor and all of it, that was this generation's 9/11. And in fact, the magnitude of that atrocity begs for a better name. So from now on, we're going to call it 1/6. And that day will live in infamy for all time. Your grandchildren will get the day off from school every January 6th in remembrance of the horror that took place. In fact, here's a better idea. Let's call it Insurrection Day. Because honestly, that's what it was.
The president incited an insurrection against Congress to prevent the peaceful transition of power.
And then he sat back and watched the insurrection.
Insurrection, a violent mob.
A white supremacist president who incited a white supremacist insurrection.
An insurrection against our government.
The violent attack on the U.S. Capitol was an act of insurrection.
The insurrection that violated the sanctity of the people's capital.
This was not a protest. This was an insurrection.
Bruce Willis in Insurrection Day. But it's not a joke. According to the Honorable Jim McGovern and everyone else you just saw on the screen, this was not a protest. How dare you call it that? This was an insurrection. Insurrection, insurrection, insurrection. Write that 100 times on the board and don't forget it. INSURRECTION. Insurrection. Learn it. Love it. But you should also know, by the way, for frame of reference, what an insurrection is not. For example, yesterday, 28 people arrested at a violent protest in New York, not on behalf of Donald Trump. Those people attacked police officers, a bunch of them went to jail. But know this, were they insurrecting at the time? No, they weren't. How do we know they weren't? Because they weren't racists. Only racists can insurrect. Listen carefully to Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley explain.
The threat of white supremacy looms large, and it is tragic that it took this insurrection and this attempt to interrupt the peaceful transfer of power, and moreover, injury and loss of life for many to appreciate just how formidable the threat of white supremacy is.
This is a tough one. So what do you do with insurrectionists like that? Insurrectionists who are also white supremacists, as they always are, but not, and here's the tricky part, in some cases even white. So you have non-white white supremacists who insurrect. That's very tough. How do you handle that? Civil force doesn't always work. These are hard cases. You need to re-educate people like that, possibly in camps, re-education camps, if you will. You must deprogram them for the safety of the rest of us.
On or before January 20th, Donald Trump will no longer be the commander-in-chief. He will lose control of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Special Forces, and America's nuclear arsenal. On January 20th, Donald Trump will become the commander-in-chief of a different army. This army. The greatest threat facing America today comes from within. Radical extreme conservatives, also known as domestic terrorists. They are hidden among us, disguised behind regular jobs. They are your children's teachers. They work at supermarkets, malls, doctors' offices, and many are police officers and soldiers. For more than a decade, Donald Trump has spoken directly to white supremacists in their language.
Build that wall! Build that wall! Build that wall! Pocahontas, is it offensive? I'm sorry.
Build it
Donald
tall.
J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
In the middle of a presidential debate, Donald Trump was asked to disavow white supremacy. He refused. Instead, he told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
They heard their leader. They even responded to him on Twitter promising to stand by. And on January 6, 2021, Trump greenlit them. They suited up. They flew in. They took hotel rooms. They loaded their weapons, prepared their bombs. And they attacked with the intention of killing Nancy Pelosi and hanging Vice President Mike Pence.
They were vocally saying, "Where's the speaker? We know she has staff. They're here someplace. We're going to find them."
In the years ahead, Trump will lead his army of domestic terrorists. He will encourage and incite violence. He will play the role of arsonist and fireman. He will start a civil war and then say things were more peaceful when he was president. We have to fight back. In this new war, the battlefield has changes. Computers can be more valuable than guns. And this is what we need now more than ever, an army of citizen detectives. I'm proposing we form a citizen army. Our weapons will be computers and cell phones. We, who are monitoring extremists on the internet and reporting their findings to authorities. Remember, before the Navy SEALs killed Osama bin Laden, he had to be found. He was found by a CIA analyst working on a computer thousands of miles away. It's up to you.
That entire SEAL Team 6 was killed off by the government.
Yeah, right? That was awfully weird.
And anybody remember which 3 people were immediately evacuated from the Capitol building by the Secret Service?
Nope.
Pence, Pelosi.
Yep.
I don't know who else.
Chuck Grassley, the president pro tempore.
Oh, yeah.
Now, for a 5 bonus point on that, why were those 3 people evacuated from the Capitol building immediately?
Because those are the ones that the Secret Service were protecting.
Those are the ones that stand in the presidential succession.
Yeah, that's why they have Secret Service coverage.
Exactly.
Protect them.
So,
it seems like
Pelosi was never under any threat at
No,
all.
she wasn't.
As soon as the security perimeter was breached, so the Secret Service came in and whisked those 3 people away.
Yeah. Yep.
So
they probably figured those people were after Trump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. If you pay attention to the videos and you watch them at all, you'll see numerous people carrying pads of paper. People are carrying their lists of grievances. There are people with handwritten, some of them typed and printed out. They were bringing arguments. Some of them actually were carrying arguments to try to give them to, or evidence to try to give it to the congressman for the hearing. I'm not shitting you. If you go back and watch, I've seen at least 3 people. One of them was a woman who had a bunch of stapled together yellow legal pad paper. There was another one that was I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. I think it was a woman, but it might have been a guy. The hair was in that ambiguous length. And they had, the triangular binder clips. They had a pad of paper like that. And they were specifically looking for a name on a door. And then there's another one. I think it's a guy. And he's carrying a clipboard. And it's got a whole, you can see numbers written down, and it's got it looks like a list. But it's like all of them are different lengths. So it's obviously not like names or anything like that. It's like a list. So I think it was an actual list of grievances or a list of bullet points for him to talk about or something.
Right.
Like I've seen 3 different sets like that. So there were people that were actually trying to go in there and air their grievances to Congress. I don't know how you can call that an insurrection.
It's terrorism. Come on, get over it. They've changed it. This is terrifying in a way, man. I mean that little presentation is like this really slick, smooth. It looks Soviet. Just slick. It actually reminds me of the 60s Cold War TV show called FBI. That kind of thing, You never know who the guy next door to you, who it really is.
Well, I can tell you that the 2 gray men I saw leaving with the Pelosi's laptop, those people either were not civilian at one time or are not civilian now.
But there were 12 laptops in that office when it was vacated. Yeah, there was a bunch of people.
There's one woman that's being charged with taking Pelosi's laptop.
She had a laptop that she was supposedly going to sell to the Russians.
Yeah.
And if that's the truth, she's a fucking dumbass anyway. I'm just, all right, we'll keep rolling.
You know what that means? She's a fucking Democrat, dude.
Man, you fucking read my mind. Holy shit. I was like, yeah, it was, only they would say Russia.
Only they would think to go to Russia with that information. God forbid you drop a call to Rudy fucking Giuliani.
Fuck, man. Oh, Lord. All right. Yeah. Let's go.
Now we're talking about domestic audience in the United States. And the challenge is going to be partially that, ISIS did not have a domestic constituency.
And note the candor in which these guys just are talking about this shit. Like, we got these enemies that are like living in our country, it's like, can I have pancakes with that?
The United States Congress. But there is over half of the Republicans in Congress voted to overturn the election. And there will be a continual political pressure on the companies to not take it seriously. So I think first you have to focus on those violent extremists, and those companies have to be brave in that way. And second, we have to turn down the capability of these conservative influencers to reach these huge audiences. There are people on YouTube, for example, that have a larger audience than daytime CNN. And they are extremely radical and pushing extremely
they're more interesting
radical views.
than daytime
and so it's up to
CNN.
the Facebooks and YouTubes in particular to think about whether or not they want to be effectively cable networks for disinformation. And then we're going to have to figure out the OANN and Newsmax problem. That these companies have freedom of speech, but I'm not sure we need Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, and such to be bringing them into tens of millions of homes.
Can't have that freedom of speech.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, it's Brian Stelter. He is the Goebbels of this bunch, y'all. I'm calling a spade right here.
Yeah, he is very good at pushing propaganda.
Yes,
really,
he's
really
a propagandist. Like,
funny, he looks like the Gerber baby of the group.
Well, he'll suck you dry.
Oh, yuck.
Well, that seems to be all that CNN is these days. It's just one big gigantic propaganda machine.
Well, everybody loves to smell Don Lemon's fingers because they're awesome.
CNN is the one that sparked the paranoia and fear in the politicians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
CNN is the ones that have been pumping the fear for the last 5 years, and then they're surprised that people are afraid.
Right.
And they act like it's our fault that Trump got us whipped up for nothing. Oh, yeah. We're not actually afraid. We're trying to tell you to do your job.
Mm. All right.
That have a larger audience than daytime CNN, and they are extremely radical and pushing extremely radical views. And so it's up to the Facebooks and YouTube.
Do you think that doesn't just piss them off in a major way by just the guy just nonchalantly saying it like that? Oh yeah, it gets more views than CNN. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got a bigger audience than daytime CNN.
Tim Pool.
We're just a bunch of posers sitting in our kitchen with a laptop and a Yeti microphone, and we're still pulling more views than daytime CNN. Yeah, that's because you suck, dude.
And we actually have actual journalism. We have actual journalism on tonight's show coming up later. So actual journalism. I'm proud of myself. Yeah, for sure.
In particular, to think about whether or not they want to be effectively cable networks for disinformation. And then we're going to have to figure out the OANN and Newsmax problem. These companies have freedom of speech, but I'm not sure we need Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, and such to be bringing them into tens of millions of homes. This is allowing people to seek out information if they really want to, but not pushing it into their faces, I think is where we're going to have to go here.
There are millions of Americans, almost all white, almost all Republicans, who somehow need to be deprogrammed.
Okay, and as much as I'm worried about these loons who break into government, I'm actually more worried about the loons who did get elected. Because, I mean, what do you do about these people? There's 147 Republicans in Congress who still don't concede that Trump lost the election. What do you do about people who are in the government who don't believe in our way of government?
It is so shocking. Not only are they not conceding bill, but there's thoughts that there might have been some collusion among members of Congress. Some are refusing to go through magnometers or whatever you call them to check for weapons. They're not wearing masks during the siege. I mean, it's really bizarre, isn't it, when you think about how AWOL so many of these members of Congress have gotten. But I also think some of them are believing the garbage that they are being fed.
That is Katie fucking Couric, yes.
24/7 on the internet by their constituents, and they bought into this big lie. And the question is, how are we going to really almost deprogram these people who have signed up for the cult of Trump?
This is not a problem that's going to go away.
Yourself,
January 20th, people get radicalized, and it takes a lot of that repeated effort to get people back out.
Meanwhile, President-elect Joe Biden is being credited for saving the economy before he's even taken office. Joining us live with a response to the double standard, senior policy analyst for the Independent Women's Forum, Patrice Onwuka. Good to see you this morning, Patrice. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Let's go back to that deprogramming. How disappointing is that language? And has everybody who voted for President Trump been brainwashed, in your opinion? So what? It's ridiculous. But this is a plan. Deplatform, deprogram, and eventually delete. I mean, I think what we're seeing is McCarthyism, where you see political repression of thought and fear-mongering and scare tactics to try to tell us, Trump supporters or people who supported President Trump's accomplishments and his policy positions, as though we are somehow brainwashed, something mentally wrong. And then it's also a great way of trying to make us disavow the accomplishments of the Trump administration the past 4 years. When we look at the economy, it was a supercharged economy pre-pandemic. Highest employment levels, lowest unemployment levels, lowest poverty levels, particularly for Black and brown communities. When we look at foreign policy, historic agreements across North Africa and the Middle East with Israel, I mean, the accomplishments go down the line. But this repressive tactic is a great way of saying, no, nothing happened between Obama and Biden.
Yeah, and it kind of reflects a worldview that the other people who disagree with you politically, they're not just wrong, they're not just misguided, they're really sad cases, or, they're members of a cult, which has become a common thing for media detractors of this outgoing president to say. But listen to this tweet from actress Kirstie Alley. Wow, Katie Couric, we've known each other for 35 years. If you really think I need to be deprogrammed, along with 80 million conservatives, you're really going to have to organize massive deprogrammers. I mean, it's that kind of language that just, I think, kind of deepens the divisions in this country. It's fine to disagree. It's fine to criticize the people, the criminals and thugs who broke into the Capitol and damaged our democracy, but not all the people who support Donald Trump.
Here's one of the base Scientologist. I
just all missed that.
Well, okay,
thugs,
yeah.
That thugs remark, Fatima. Thugs is a racist term. Remember when that happened?
Thug.
I forgot about that.
What about? Well, yeah, and nativism. The word, the term nativism is emerging, which it's another one of these new words where you have to go, well, what does that mean? So you look stupid to people because they just made it up, right?
Nativism is a 170-year-old term. It's a reference to the Know Nothing Party from pre-Civil War.
Oh, dude.
We haven't had a nativist party in this country for well over 150 years.
It's just what they're trying to say is that the word nativist means that it's supposed to be some sort of new a political slur for people that think if you're American born, you should get benefits before people that aren't here legally.
Yeah, they're trying to say that people that insist on citizenship as a prerequisite for receiving government benefits are equivalent to the Know Nothing Party, which was known to be a bunch of fucking racists. They're just trying to smear once again.
Right. Yeah, fuck them, right?
It's got nothing to do with race, folks. It's got to do with citizenship. It's got to do with whether or not you're paying into the system. And if you are here illegally, I don't care whether you're paying taxes or not, you're taking a job that you shouldn't have because you don't have permission to be here and you don't have a legal right to work.
My ancestors legally fucking, came here. They went through the process and all that shit. Why don't, what's so hard for all these other fucking people? I don't know, man. It's just, but it's a thing, It's a thing. All right, let's go with little Davey.
Questions that Jen Psaki, his new, she's the press secretary, the new press secretary.
Her name's Jen Psaki. The P is silent. It's a Greek name. But oh my God. My heart hurts for Kaylee. I want Kaylee back. I want my Kaylee back. Dude.
Oh, I loved how she would just snip at the media and just whatever. Like a big middle finger to all of them, all the
Right.
time.
Oh, you remember when you guys did this, and this? Oh, yeah, that's right, you stupid motherfuckers. You know, I got your goddamn number. I love that shit. She just fucking smack them around, man. And you know that they were like gleeful when knew they weren't going to have to deal with her anymore.
Right.
Yeah, fuck them.
We got
Stood
yesterday.
up there behind that podium, smacked down that 3-ring binder, and then give a verbal castration.
This is such a good question. I have not had the opportunity to dig into that today, given the number of executive actions, orders, the inauguration, a few things happening. I will.
What she asked her? That's funny as shit.
Yeah, rewind
No, I
that.
missed it.
We were talking.
Sorry, I was talking over it. I'm sorry.
That's fine, man. But it's like, it's so funny.
Press secretary, the new press secretary got yesterday. It's very in depth and biting.
Lighter note: will he keep Donald Trump's Air Force One color scheme change? This is such a good question. I have not had the opportunity to dig into that today, given the number of executive actions, orders.
Are you going to keep Donald Trump's color scheme changed on Air Force One?
Holy shit, because that matters.
Her answer is incredibly passive aggressive, guys.
Oh,
I don't know. Because,
that's a great question. That's a great
executive
question.
orders.
It's such a great question, you know. I just haven't had a chance to dig into that real deeply yet, you know. What with all the executive orders and stuff going through, you know, it was really passive aggressive.
It's one step short of CJ Craig saying, well, I don't have the answer for that question because we were actually doing real work today.
Yes.
Straight off West Wing.
Yeah, and hearing someone say, "Oh, that's a great question," means they were completely unprepared for it, nor do they have a real answer for it.
Hey, Gula, hey, JP, thanks for the $5. We are all just talking. We are all just talking to the converted here. I call top bunk when we get to the gulag. Indeed, man. Because that's on our to-do list, I believe. On mine, I think. I don't know. Anywho. Let's keep this cheerful shit going.
Depth and biting.
Lighter note: will he keep Donald Trump's Air Force One color scheme change? This is such a good question. I have not had the opportunity to dig into that today, given the number of executive actions, orders, the inauguration, a few things happening. I will venture to get you an answer on that, and maybe we can talk about it in here tomorrow.
This is such a good question. That's such a good question about the color of the thing and the clean and what are we going to do and let's see about the carpet and all of those things. It's such a good question. And why do they have to ask me questions about the other things? Because that's such a good question. Do you see how stupid this is going to be? We are just going to be in the worst reality show of all time. Like Trump was a reality show, and like him or hate him or whatever, it was like there was some good stuff there. There was some funny stuff. There was some irreverent stuff. Something remotely close to reality. But now you're going to have just this press corps that they want these people in power, so they're going to ask half-assed questions that'll be thought of as controversial, and then mostly they're going to ask about whether they're going to change the drapes in the airplane bathroom. Oh my God, that's such a good question. It's such a good question. Can you ask it again in another way? But not just that. I found this one, which was really interesting. Biden was talking yesterday about how he would fire disrespectful colleagues. He's not going to tolerate being disrespectful to people. I mean, that's not something a good progressive liberal lefty would do. Let's listen in.
But I'm not joking when I say this. If you're ever working with me and I hear you treat another colleague with disrespect, talk down to someone, I promise you I will fire you on the spot. On the spot.
Fire yourself.
No ifs, ands, or buts.
Fire yourself,
Everybody is entitled to be treated with decency and dignity. Right? That's been missing in a big way the last 4 years.
Fat guy.
It's true. It's true. Treating people with dignity and respect and not talking down to people is important. But we just happened to come across this video during the campaign of Joe Biden talking to auto worker Jerry Wayne, who, by the way, I had on the show after this interaction. And let's just see how respectful and tolerant and decent and all that good stuff Joe was to Jerry.
Support the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment, just like right now, if you're on fire, that's not free speech. From the very beginning, I have a shotgun, I have 20 gauge, 12 gauge, my son's hunt. Guess what? You're not allowed to own any weapons. I'm not taking your gun away at all. You need 100 rounds? I did not say that. I did not say that. It's a viral video like the other ones that put out there. Somebody alive.
Well, we just clarified it.
Wait. Take the AR-14 from me.
There's a lot of guys want in this.
I'm not worried.
Here's the latest target for retribution.
Yeah, that was a classic exchange.
He said AR-14, really? You're an idiot.
Yeah.
He was also trying to say if you need 100 rounds, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now they're trying. They're slating up to make body armor illegal. Yet there were people at the inauguration that were wearing body armor. You know.
Oh, it'll be just for the elites.
Exactly.
By the foaming elites, patriotic Americans. This Democrat says we must be suspicious of the National Guard, because they're dudes and stuff.
The Guard is 90-some-odd%, I believe, male. Only about 20% of white males voted for Biden. They're probably not more than 25% of the people that are there protecting us who voted for Biden. The other 75% are in the class that would be the large class of folks who might want to do something.
Probably racist. So where might this political vetting of the military lead? Will Republicans be court-martialed? Or will Biden build an army within an army? Isn't this what they expected from Trump? Meanwhile, there's this widespread video meant to instigate reprisals against, yes, Trump's secret army.
In the years ahead, Trump will lead his army of domestic terrorists. He will encourage and incite violence. He will play the role of arsonist and fireman. He will start a civil war and then say things were more peaceful when he was president. We have to fight back.
He's going to be out of office. They can't let him go. So won't that video lead to more violence, targeting Trumpers? But hey, I'm not going to blame a video for violence. Only the Democrats do that. Remember, the same people blaming you for the Capitol violence are the same people who blamed you for the Summers violence and are the same people who blamed Benghazi on a video. Yeah, laugh. It's funny. But it's happening again, the targeting of dissent by labeling words as crimes so they can be silenced. But Americans get it. Elite-approved violence never matters. The Summers violence, it was nothing. But your vote, well, that makes you the Klan.
Democratic cities are in chaos right now. Is this what you want from Joe Biden? And they're going to take your country away and they're taking down the statues.
I'm never on the side of the Klan. I am principal people, conservative or liberal, never on the Klan side. Principal people, conservative or liberal, never on the Nazi side. Principal people who are conservative or liberal, never on the side that treats their fellow Americans as less than, that says that your fellow Americans should not exist.
Judging everybody by their worst element. Now, when you bring up this contrast, you get accused of whataboutism. Wow, but that's all history is. One long whataboutism, in which the idiots of today are often idiots of the past, hence the need to hide behind feeble dismissals. But we aren't comparing actions, just the response to said actions, which is the only way to keep people accountable. Could the media's defense of mob action allow for more in the future as they come for you? Right now, we have a salivating lynch mob formed from the press, academia, big tech, the DC power structure, linking commentary to crime in order to drive censorship, harassment, and boycotts. Ultimately, arrests may come. With 74 million domestic terrorists, we better get started. All right, I want to go to Dana Bash first. It's kind of weird how the Democrats, Ms. Bash, are scared of their own troops. I mean, what does that say?
Well, I think that a couple things. I was listening to this podcast where they said that each group, Republicans, Democrats, Conservatives, Liberals, think that they are losing in the battle. Okay, so like Democrats, even though they now have both the House and the Senate and the White House, they still think that they are losing the battle. Republicans think that they have lost the battle. But just a couple things to remind. This is a list, Jesse. Here's a list for you. Republicans held the Democrats to the narrowest minority possible in the Senate. Okay, we see that, 50-50. That is you can't get more narrow than that. We have a majority of governors' mansions that are now Republican. A majority of state legislatures are Republicans. That means redistricting. And a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. And Republicans were said to lose the House. They were going to lose more seats in the Senate, and they didn't do that. So I think that when you have a fringe and criminals that did certain things, to suggest that that is broad brush and paints all 74 million people that voted for President Trump with the same brush, that obviously is not good and not true and not fair. Remember that the media spent a long time after the 2016 election going all around the country saying, who are these voters? Well, they're the same voters. There were terrible people that had horrible actions at the Capitol, just up the street here. That does not mean 74 million Americans are the same.
Yeah, I think the two solutions to healing this country is assuming the best in the people you disagree with, not assuming the worst. And I think I forgot the second point. I think the second point was even better than the first point, Jesse.
This morning I was reading about this on my Twitter account, I guess, and people were reminding people of Anwar Sadat and Indira Gandhi, who were killed by their own people. I was thinking the Guard is 90-some-odd%, I believe, male. Only about 20% of white males voted for Biden. You got to figure that in the Guard, which is predominantly more conservative, and I see that on my social media, and we know it, they're probably not more than 25% of the people that are there protecting us who voted for Biden. The other 75% are in the class that would be the large class of folks who might want to do something. And there were military people and police who took oaths to defend the Constitution and to protect and defend who didn't do it, who were in the insurrection. So it does concern me, but the vetting at the last minute.
But I mean, that's far to have voted for Trump does not make you an insider threat. I mean, that's far different from being a threat of violence inside whether the National Guard or law enforcement. I'm curious: is there anything you've seen to substantiate just how broad this insider threat may be, if it exists?
No insider threat.
Absolutely not, Jim. But if you draw a circle first, the first circle is people who were for Trump and not for Biden, as far as people who would be within the zone of folks who you'd be suspect of. Suspect group is large.
Welcome to talk.
So they were actually.
These people, I don't know what's wrong.
Well, they actually vetted. You know, they actually checked in the voting background of 25,000 fucking people.
Do you know that's fucking illegal?
No, you know what's even worse is that a judge ordered them not to do that, and they did it anyway. And they vetted these troops by asking what political groups they're a part of. They dug into their backgrounds. They asked intrusive questions, and the whole thing is these people take an oath, and it doesn't matter where they lie politically. They hold to their fucking oath unless they're dealing with PTSD or some other mental issue. That's the only time they tend to step out of fucking line. And it's not just the troops that were in DC. They're doing this to multiple people in multiple branches. And it's a scary fucking thought. So now, this whole time that I've been telling my husband, hey, you really need to vote. I mean, you of all people need to vote. I am so glad, since he has been enlisted for 20 fucking years, he's never voted. So they don't have shit on him.
That's
crazy.
That's his saving grace, isn't it?
Yeah.
This shit really pisses me off. It really pisses me off.
I got disowned by my family in 2018, and I've moved addresses twice since then, and I'm actually relieved that they don't know anything about where I live.
Good.
All right,
I mean, these people want to sit here. They always create fucking boogeymen. The Boogaloo Boys, the Proud Boys. They're always like hiding behind all the bushes and ready to jump out and kill anybody that has wrongthink, when they are actually the ones that are doing shit like that. It's all about projection.
Yeah.
I think Proud Boys are nice guys.
I think so too.
All the ones I've met have been really nice guys, and they're cool people.
There was some irony when that guy that was doing that insurrection video, that when they were talking about how racist Trump was, that in one of the pictures they had there was a black person holding up a big sign that said "Blacks for Trump." So yeah, you're wrong. I'm sorry, but you're wrong.
That's why they came up with the new term multiracial whiteness.
Yes.
Oh, are they whites that identify as black, or black that identify as white?
No. It's they partake in the actions of whiteness.
Right.
Contributing to white.
They used to call them Uncle Toms and porch N-words. So now this is the new word. This is the new terminology.
They got used to the old slurs, and they don't care anymore. And it's now, all right,
Just
monkey,
repackage
have a
it.
good night, honey.
That's right.
I actually
Night, monkey.
Night, monkey.
Have a good night,
Bubba.
BP.
Night,
BP.
Yeah. Irate, are you gonna come and talk Trek with us tomorrow, or are you busy with the?
You know what, man? Last week I totally forgot and took a nap, and it's like,
It's okay.
Yeah, man.
We're talking about the ships of Trek tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
I'm in.
And any ship goes. So
I'm there.
Talk about we can talk about enemy ships.
Oh,
or
killer.
Starfleet ships.
Oh.
Or so the ships of Trek is what we're talking.
Man, I would go on and on about the Romulan Warbird, but we'll stop there.
Man. Indeed. Killer. All right. I'll be there.
Have a good night, BP.
I will.
Night,
I'm
BP.
gonna try to make these more often again. So.
Groovy.
Cool.
All right.
So
Been
happy
missing you.
birthday, my dude.
Thank you.
And I'll see you tomorrow.
Much love.
All right.
Later, fam.
Good to see you, BP.
Kirk Carlson tonight. Happy Inauguration Day. It's a big moment for the country. The changing of the guard, a peaceful transfer of power, another reassuring display of the awesome pageantry of constitutional government. There were solemn speeches today, sworn oaths, belted anthems, all echoing against the backdrop of 26,000 smartly attired federal troops who are guarding our capital city from unseen threats. It was quite a display. It was all a lot to take, really. So like many of you, we flipped on the tube to see what it meant. And here's what we learned.
Joe Biden respects government. He respects people who disagree with him. He listens to them.
I think that Joe Biden is going to train us to see the world differently.
He plans to usher in a new era of hope and the action he's promising the minute he takes office.
We've gone from indecency to decency.
He filled that empathy void.
There was not one part of that that wasn't just medicine in the womb.
Those lights that are just shooting out from the Lincoln Memorial along the reflecting pool, it's like almost extensions of Joe Biden's arms embracing America. It was a moment where the new president came to town
Damn, that's
So to recap, Joe Biden respects people's differences, but at the same time, he's going to train us to be very different from the way we are.
my God.
He will bring hope and decency. He will fill the yawning void where our empathy should be. He's medicine. Joe Biden's arms, lean and hard from decades of empathetic labor on our behalf, will encircle us like lights from the Lincoln Memorial. And at that point, well, God knows, anything is possible. If there's a thin bead of sweat forming in your upper lip as you think about all of this, that's okay. Don't feel shame. Shame isn't necessary now. Joe Biden is a good idea. And not just Joe Biden, Jill Biden too, Mrs. Biden, Dr.
Man, as soon as he took the oath, it's like, well, it was like the night before when it started. I mean, but it's like, it's like all these people are just sucking him off, man. After 4 years of what they gave at Trump, the Russia shit, it makes me want to vomit. I mean,
does he not look fucking lost and confused while standing there?
Dude, he's got. All right, so I've got footage later of him saying, he says, "Salute the Marines." Yeah, right, because somebody's in his ear.
It?
Yeah,
I saw a Salty Crackers video on it. It was hilarious.
He's got an earpiece. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people are telling him what to do and shit.
I'm surprised seeing his arm or his hand in that Bible. I'm surprised the damn thing doesn't burst into flames.
I know. I thought the same thing, dude. All right, so
I'm just laughing at his small hand. After 5 years of hearing them accuse Trump of having small hands, that picture right there shows Biden with a tiny little right hand raised.
Indeed. Imagine that dude walking around naked.
Oh, please, God!
No. That's, don't you understand that? That's what he would do. The Secret Service agents have reported about him, like going nude, swimming, walking around the house naked and shit.
I say, good for Biden. Get that.
I mean, I would probably do that just to fuck with somebody, right? But I don't know.
Teabag in the news.
I think he. I don't know. I think it was some kind of bizarreness to it.
You think you think mainstream media is at least fondling his nuts too while they're sucking his dick?
Well, they're probably not doing any of that because none of the
It's
worst.
not like they have to reach up very far to get to him when they're 74 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Playing soccer with
That's
him.
assuming that he still has his nuts.
What they do
I
is
think Jill's got him.
I was going to say she has them underneath that Bible. That's why
They're
she's got
in
that
a
beautiful
Dixie
kind
cup
of
in her
face.
purse.
Yeah, they sit in a pool. They sit in a pool with Joe Biden. They rub his leg hair. That's what Joe does.
All right, let's roll. All right.
Together, the two of them, MSNBC informed us, will redeem this nation through their love. Behold.
What a story, though. What a great love story between Jill Biden and Joe Biden. Just a different kind of marriage. This is a love match, like the Obamas were. So I think that'll be healing for the country, too.
Yeah. Biden's marriage is healing for all of us, for the country. The Biden's love is America's love. Jill and Joe are the mother and father of this nation. From their loins, we are born and yet reborn. May their names emerge from our lips in praise forever. And so on. That was cable news today. The funny thing is, and there are many funny things going on right now, every person with a microphone in every TV studio in America today knew the fuller truth when they said things like the ones you just heard. They knew, for example, for certain, that Joe Biden isn't well. Everyone in Washington knows that. But no one said it out loud, not a word. They withheld that news from you, as they have for months. So much for speaking truth to power. On the other hand, what did you expect? You've watched the lying for years now. You know what it is. You figured out how it works. So it dawned on us today that maybe we ought to stop playing all these stupid media clips every night. It's like watching the town drunk throw up on himself over and over again. Obviously, it's repulsive and shocking. It's hard to turn away. But can you really be surprised by it? Throwing up on themselves is what town drunks do. If you keep watching them as they do it, maybe after a while you are part of the problem. Maybe so. In any case, we flipped off CNN and decided to check out Joe Biden's speech for ourselves. And it was interesting, actually, both for what it said and for what it didn't say. One particular part of the speech stuck out especially. Now, we didn't support Joe Biden for president. You probably guessed that. But if we're being totally honest here, and we want to be honest, we have to say it was very hard to disagree with this specific part of the address. Watch.
On this January day, my whole soul is in this, bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. And I ask every American to join me in this cause. With unity, we can do great things, important things.
Bringing America together, Biden said. Uniting our people, uniting our nation. To which we said as we watched it, and we meant it when we did, amen. Unity. That is precisely what this country needs more than it needs anything. We are all in this together, every single American, and we have no choice but to hang together. Let's finally accept that we are one country and act like we are, and make this a better place for everyone. Unity. No decent person opposes that. If Joe Biden can bring unity to this country, he'll be a legitimately great president. But there's a catch. There always is a catch. We're going to bring America together, Joe Biden told us today, but not everyone is going to be included. Unity doesn't mean every single American, because not everyone who was born within our borders really is an American. Some of us are beyond the pale of citizenship morally. We may have American passports and birth certificates, but effectively, we are a hostile foreigner. We are the enemy. We must be defeated. Here's who Joe Biden says those people are.
A rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism, that we must confront and we will defeat.
we will defeat.
Same
Political
speech.
extremists, domestic terrorists, white supremacists. Those are America's enemies. We must wage war against them. We must, quote, defeat those people. That's what Biden said today. It seemed like a highly significant part of his speech, and maybe a significant part of the Democratic Party's governing agenda going forward. We're not imagining this. We weren't the only ones who noticed it. People who voted for Joe Biden heard it too. Why?
I heard a declaration of war against white supremacy and against the lies that brought our democracy to the brink. And President-elect Biden will inherit an unprecedented domestic security crisis.
A declaration of war against white supremacy.
What?
Now, you may not have noticed that because on one level, it's not very remarkable. Not many Americans support white supremacy. Most people in this country find it disgusting. Of course, and they should. But the question is, what is it exactly? Now that we're waging war on white supremacists, can somebody tell us in very clear language what a white supremacist is? That's not some picayune semantic question. Joe Biden isn't a high school debate coach. Joe Biden is the new president of the United States. Joe Biden controls the largest military and largest law enforcement agencies in the world. He has now declared war. So we should know specifically and precisely who exactly he has declared war on. We have a right to know that. Innocent people could be hurt in this war. They usually are. There could be collateral damage in this war. The casualties will be Americans. So again, what is a white supremacist? You might be surprised to learn just how broad the definition for that has become. Bloomberg News has described a wall along our southern border as, quote, a monument to white supremacy, so be certain not to support that. Colin Kaepernick, who seems to have the unequivocal support of corporate America, calls the 4th of July an example of white supremacy. You'd better put away the fireworks and the hot dog. The United States Army, a trusted institution if there ever was one, has used an entire manual on what is and what is not white supremacy. So you should know this. Among the telltale signs of a committed white supremacist are these: celebrating Columbus Day, using the term American exceptionalism, any support for federal border security or English-only measures, or, quote, education funding from property taxes, all white supremacy. Using the phrase, there's only one human race, is white supremacy too, according to the Army. And of course, voting for Donald Trump, all white supremacy.
Okay.
Here's the problem. Let's see.
Can you pause for a second?
Yeah.
Hey, anybody else remembering registering for the Tea Party back in the mid-2000s and hearing this same list dropped in your lap? Is this anybody else's not first rodeo? I can't be the only person that signed up for the Tea Party. They're almost as big as MAGA at the time.
Yep. Yeah. We're back there.
Yes, I was a Tea Party Republican too.
Okay. So, I was a Tea Party Libertarian. We were all part of the same group,
We were
though.
all brought together by the party, the Tea Party.
Yep.
It was the idea of just leave me the fuck alone.
Well,
and it's exactly what...
Here they said T stood for taxed enough already.
Yeah.
You know?
Leave me the fuck alone.
Right. And I that's what attracted me to it. So, all right, let's keep rolling.
You don't buy those definitions. Let's say you're, for example, white but poor, and you have trouble accepting the idea that you're benefiting from some kind of structural advantage. You better shut up about it if you know what's good for you, because according to the United States Army, the, quote, denial of white privilege is a classic sign of, yes, white supremacy. So no complaining. You can see the problem with this. We definitely can see the problem. This show was not on the air for 6 months before there was an organized and highly aggressive campaign by prominent Democrats to denounce us as white supremacists. The first time it happened, the people who work on this show, many of them kids, were shocked and horrified by that. White supremacists? What's worse than that? The phrase evokes images of burning crosses and lynchings. It's awful. In our case, it was totally undeserved. This show is completely opposed to the practice of judging people on the basis of their skin color. We have said that repeatedly every week for 4 years. No show in all media has said it more or meant it more sincerely. Why have we said that? Why are we opposed to judging people on the basis of their race? Not simply because we were taught to oppose doing that, though we were, but because it's immoral. And it's immoral because we believe in God. That's the real answer. Believing in God doesn't make you a good person, unfortunately. But believing in God does answer the question of where we came from. God made us. That's what believers believe. Once you understand that, it is impossible to think that any one race is inherently better or worse than any other race, because God made every person. God assigns identical moral value to every individual. God cares about all of us equally. So we are judged by what we do, not by how we were born. We really believe that. Most Americans really believe that. It's not an accident that Martin Luther King was a Christian minister and that Joseph Stalin and Mao Zedong were not. Secular leaders are the ones most likely to count their populations by race and then to embrace collective punishment. Through history, they often have. We've said all of that before on the show many times. So the question is, why have they kept denouncing us as, of all things, white supremacists? We thought a lot about that. You should think a lot about it too, now that the Biden administration has declared war on people they claim have white supremacist ideas. In our case, it all started when we began criticizing the people in charge. Other channels fill their air with attacks on so-called Proud Boys, whoever they are, or the QAnon enthusiasts, or gun owners in central Pennsylvania who fix air conditionings for a living and tend to vote the wrong way. They go after those people, and you can see why. Attacking those people isn't hard. None of them have real power. They don't, let's be honest, they don't. But private equity does have power, a lot of power. So does Google, so does Citibank, so does the government of China, so does even silly Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez with her massive social media accounts. Those are the people who run our country, and they don't like to be criticized. On the other hand, they don't care to defend themselves directly with reason and fact. Often they can't do that. So instead they denounce you, your critics, their critics, as white supremacists, and then they just ignore what you say. Fine. We've dealt with this for years. We're used to it. No longer hurts our feelings. We understand what's going on. But there's a new regime in power starting today, and they seem to be planning to accelerate things dramatically. They're getting the FBI and the Pentagon involved in this hunt for people who may criticize them. That's a very big change, and you should understand what it's really about. Jason Whitlock is a journalist. We're always happy to have him on the show. Jason, thanks so much for coming on tonight. no one ever says this, but I think it's true, that the bulwark against white supremacy, supremacy of any kind, racial supremacy of any kind, is faith. And that people of faith are far less likely, in fact, are commanded not to judge people on the basis of how they were born. Why does nobody say that?
Tucker, I'm so glad you're going there because you're speaking the absolute truth. This is secular values blossoming and coming into power, and the left and this power elite, I just can't blame just the left, political elites are demonizing the people they are supposed to represent. This is an attack on the American people. Black people, as I said on Monday, are being fooled into thinking this is some sort of defense of us. It is not. When you start talking about basically a war on white supremacy, basically a war on people that you disagree with politically, because that's all this is. Whoever the left disagrees with gets painted as a white supremacist. It's happened to me. I'm black. I'm proudly black with 2 black parents, black siblings. I'm in no denial. I'm proud of being black. But now because I express conservative values, conservative non-political values, I'm seen as a friend of white supremacists. I'm a white supremacist. Anybody that disagrees with the left is a white supremacist. And now with this war on white supremacy, just like the war on drugs was an attack on the working class and poor, we're about to see it all over again. And I just want to reach out to black people and to let's quit being used as a pawn by a political organization, the left, Democrats. They're punching down. They're attacking 75 million people that voted for Trump. And in that attack, they're also attacking you. Trust me. Exactly. At some point, they're coming for you as well. This is not a defense of you. This whole thing, I've lived long enough to know the racial progress America has made. And so today, in his speech about white supremacy and people, Nicole Wallace talking about truth and the lies that have been told have justified this violence at the Capitol. What about the lies we listened to all summer about the police killing black people randomly? And they got everybody wound up in riots and violence all across the country. Police officers assassinated, citizens assassinated. No one gets blamed for that. But people walk into the Capitol unarmed and this is Pearl Harbor. This is 9/11 all over again, and we have to have a war on white supremacy like we had a war on terror. They got to cut it out, Tucker. They got to cut it out. This is dangerous.
I agree. I'm worried, and it is about power. Or else they would make the faith-based case against racism, which is the one that you and I grew up with in this country. They said, don't judge other people because what matters is inside, right? But I wonder, you mentioned the BLM movement that really kind of took over a lot of the country, funded by our most powerful corporations over the summer. That is a political movement. Put it in context for us. What would you compare that to?
Well, I compare Black Lives Matters to the KKK. I really do, and some people don't understand it. But if you go back,
check this out, man. This dude is really great.
To the 1860s, after the Emancipation Proclamation, the KKK was started, and it was the enforcement arm of the Democratic Party. And what's the enforcement arm of the Democratic Party right now? Black Lives Matter and Antifa. They will come to your home and violate your home, try to intimidate the people in your home if they disagree with you politically. Black Lives Matter, a Marxist organization. Marxism is hostile towards religion. That's why I'm glad you went there today. These are atheist values being expressed from our leaders, demonizing individual citizens here in America, branding them as white supremacists because they decided, because we disagree with their opinion about something. This is lunacy, and it's dangerous.
What I love about your analysis, and I think the reason you're able to see it so clearly when some others don't, is you understand these struggles as about power, as one group trying to impose its will upon another. That really is the central dynamic in politics. It's power, right? It's not primarily race. It's power, and I don't know why that's not obvious to more people.
They've come up with a strategy, Tucker. The Democrats. You got to tip your hat to them. It's an evil strategy, but it is working. They have convinced the public, if you want to not be considered racist, support Democrats, support the left. That's the way to inoculate yourself from ever being accused of racism or being a sellout to your black race. That is their political strategy.
Blackmail.
That's what they're offering the people. We can protect you from being smeared as a racist. Joe Biden offered no policies today. There were platitudes and generalizations and attacks on President Trump. There was no vision expressed for America and how we move this country forward. There was no offer of unity. Again, as we said a week or two ago, you have to reach out to these 75 million people and say, hey, I know you're struggling and I know you're frustrated with this country. Let's have a conversation and let's quit smearing each other. Let me hear your concerns and try to address some of them. We're not doing that. So I don't see any unity being promoted.
Boy, I think all of us would be so grateful for you. Jason Whitlock, I appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you for your clarity. Not a lot of actual policies talked about at the inauguration today, but the new President Joe Biden did declare a brand new war on domestic terrorism, which does seem like the headline. We've been waiting for this for a little while. The country's intelligence establishment seems to be salivating at the thought of treating fellow Americans like ISIS.
Looking forward that the members of the Biden team who have been nominated or have been appointed.
This is Brennan, just in case you didn't know who he was.
Insane. Sorry.
Yeah. Swamp creature extraordinaire.
Are now moving in laser-like fashion to try to uncover as much as they can about what looks very similar to insurgency movements that we've seen overseas, where they germinate in different parts of the country and they gain strength, and it brings together an unholy alliance frequently of religious extremists, authoritarians, fascists, bigots, racists, nativists, even libertarians. And unfortunately, I think there has been this momentum that has been generated as a result of, unfortunately, the demagogic rhetoric of people that's just departed government.
That's right. Libertarians are fucking Al-Qaeda now. Just saying.
The leave me the fuck alone party is like the literal, no, I don't want a law that affects anybody. Leave me the hell alone group is suddenly now a group of extremists. They follow the non-aggression principle. What in the holy fuck are you talking about? How is the non-aggression principle extreme?
Oh, hold on now. He's an expert, God damn it. You gotta respect him because he's an expert.
On what?
Being a
getting away with shit.
He's probably got a whole list of initials behind his name, a whole bunch of degrees that say that he is an expert on his field. The question is, if his field.
Well, he was the head of the CIA.
Head of the CIA. Yeah. He didn't know diddly shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was the head of the CIA. He was the head of the CIA when the whole Steele document and all that stuff happened. He was Comey's counterpart in the CIA.
But also those who continue in the halls of Congress.
Yeah. Oh, an unholy alliance, if you will. Because I am stupid, I speak exclusively in cliches, but I was still able somehow to run the CIA. I'm trying to tell you something a lot really about the rottenness of our system. But the headline here is insurgents. What you're hearing is that people who disagree with me or may criticize me are in fact insurgents. And of course, politicians love the idea of this. Brad Schneider, for example, is a congressman from Illinois. He's introduced something called the Domestic Terrorism Prevention Act to make it a lot easier to spy on the Americans who are paying for the spy agencies. Watch.
Would you like to see more monitoring of radical domestic movements?
Well, the short answer is yes. That's the purpose of this bill.
Well, Media Class has already established some pretty firm ground rules for the Biden administration. For example, you cannot talk about Kamala, or is it Kamala? Hard to know. You notice that Justice Sonia Sotomayor got it wrong, maybe we think, in any way that's not fawningly positive. That's deeply sexist if you do. Go get reprogrammed misogynist. Of course, that rule does not apply to the media. When CBS News runs entire segments on Kamala Harris's shoes, it's not offensive. It is indeed empowering.
I'll tell you, when you walked in, I checked out, is she wearing them? You're not wearing your Chucks today. No. What is the story? It became a story. I've always worn Chucks. It's my casual. It's my casual go-to. I grew up with Chucks. I just love them. They're comfortable.
I can attest. There is several closets full of them.
He's exaggerating.
Can you imagine? You're interviewing one of the most powerful people in the world, maybe the most powerful person in the world. You're a journalist. Your job is to inform your viewers and your readers about what they can expect from their government. But instead, you degrade yourself by asking about her shoes. Quick, slobber over Kamala's shoes. Ugh. Over at MSNBC, her shoes were not the highlight. They were focused on more important matters, like how Michelle Obama was dressed today.
That's empowering.
Can I just remark of how flawless Michelle Obama is? I'm sorry.
AOC is curled up in the ball,
she really understands how to
stolen shoes.
Oh, God. She almost died, you guys. She literally almost died.
From what?
Just my shoes.
You know, whenever
have you noticed that whenever the media interacts with her, it's fucking superficial as shit. It's they never get into any kind of depthy talk about policy or any of that shit, man. I mean, even Biden can go in and talk policy occasionally, right? But man, when they were with her, man, they keeping it vapid. You know, it's like, oh, talk about your tennis shoes. How to 20 minutes, you know, right, we're out.
Well, they have to sell her to the people, because if some theories are correct and they're trying to get her as president for 10 years, they cannot dirty her up with any real questions. They have to keep her clean and pretty.
Well, yeah, because she's retarded when you ask her to answer things. She talks like this, and you think she's gonna cry about it, or she's gonna just slap you because she's about ready to lose it.
Or she makes some dumb comment like, it was a debate.
She's a reptile.
Yes.
Best for the moment, and how to look stylish but also powerful. She really is just masterful at it.
She's just masterful. Wouldn't it be hilarious if someone on set said, I think she looks like that? Honestly, it's not really flattering. You would lose your job if you did that. Love to see it, though. Speaking of losing their job, Jim Acosta lost his job. You may have read that he's no longer going to be their chief White House correspondent. He's still oppressed, though. Today, Jim Acosta celebrated the ouster of a dictator. In fact, it's so bad that Jim Acosta got a book deal out of criticizing him. Those horrors are behind us now, thank God. Jim Acosta is celebrating the dictator is gone.
So, Anderson, this is looking like, a president or a foreign head of state leaving Washington. And, in a way, because the president is defying these traditions of not being a part of the inauguration of President Joe Biden, he's almost leaving town like an autocrat, ousted from power, heading off into exile.
It's just hilarious that someone who is literally wearing a black mask on camera is calling someone else a fascist. Why are you wearing a mask? You're not going to get COVID outside at a live shot. This is just performance art, and it's very tiresome. Please stop. Will they stop? How long will this go on exactly? Steve Krakauer is the editor of the Fourth Watch podcast. He joins us tonight. Steve, one of my hopes is to be able to watch television again without gritting my teeth. Just like basic news coverage. Are we ever going to get that?
Serious? Yeah, I don't know, because it does feel like the pendulum is starting to swing a whole different direction right now. Look, I mean, I think if there was one positive that came from the Trump era, it was that journalists sort of rediscovered the idea that the press should serve the public and be a check on power, and it should have an adversarial relationship with power. Now the press in the Trump era went completely overboard and became, this is this evil, dictatorship that we're covering. But at least that's, maybe if you could take some of those lessons and bring that to the Biden era. But I think we're going to, I'm not sure we're going to see that. I had Olivia Newsy, who's one of the few reporters in DC who actually trust may keep that adversarial relationship going to the next era. She was on my podcast and she described that a lot of DC-based journalists are motivated by the reluctance to make one's social life uncomfortable. So the idea is, look, you can be mean to Kelly McEnany and you can interrupt her all day and you're just going to get praise on Twitter and no one's going to care. Everyone's going to be, you're going to get more Twitter followers. If you start doing that to Jen Psaki, you start interrupting her, you're going to be, you're going to be a misogynist or, a mansplainer, and you're not going to get invited to the same parties that probably Jen Psaki's going to, and you're certainly going to get, railed against on Twitter. So yeah, I'm very concerned about the way that this is going to go, and I think that if it's any indication of where things were in the Obama years, and frankly even a little bit in the Bush years, I think that we need to have a press that is motivated to be.
Well, isn't he implying a some type of social credit thing going on?
Is.
Oh yeah.
And why the fuck would you want to go to those parties?
No shit, man.
Adversarial, and I'm not sure we're seeing that, particularly as I'm seeing all these tweets right now from people saying that they're so tired and exhausted from the last 4 years, kind of not giving good signs of where things are about to go next.
I totally agree, and I agree with you about Olivia Newsy, by the way. I don't know her politics are, but she's smart. A lot of dumb people in the media. I think all the smart ones went into finance or something. It's kind of the slow second son goes over to work at NBC or something. It's very sad because we kind of need a competent media. Hey, great to see you tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.
Well, Joe Biden, as we told you at the outset, and we applauded it as he did, called for unity today, which is the thing we need more than anything. So if he really meant it, why wouldn't he, and will he, is the question, call on his allies in the monopolies in Silicon Valley to stop censoring people, Americans. Vivek Ramaswamy has thought a lot about that question, a lot. He's a tech entrepreneur, author of the forthcoming book, Woke Inc., which we plan to read. Vivek, thanks so much for coming on. So if you wanted to unify the country, why wouldn't you just say, look, people get to speak freely, and I may disagree, but I can handle it because I'm an American. Do you think he'll do that?
Look, as an American, I hope he does. But the single most powerful thing he could do tonight is get on the phone with Jack Dorsey and call on big tech to give Donald Trump's Twitter account back and to do the same thing for thousands of conservatives who were removed over the last few weeks. Because as Americans, we don't just silence the people we disagree with. We engage with them. We debate them. And for the President of the United States to step up and do that would be a small step, actually, for Joe Biden. But I think it would be a big step forward for this country.
No, I think that really would. I mean, I would unequivocally praise him. I think all people of principle would do that. Do you think that he will?
Yeah. Well, I thought I heard somebody say something.
I did. I said something. I said banning somebody is a pussy move. That's basically what you do when you want to shut somebody up because they have a differing opinion from you.
Or they may be right.
You're not willing to debate them in a public square. You just want to silence them because you have the ability to.
Right. Well, some people just can't be wrong, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the mark of a coward is silencing somebody because they don't agree with you.
A weak person, in many facets.
Look, I have a big doubt as to whether he will, because he is the President of the United States today and no longer the President-elect or a candidate. So I'd like to give him a chance. But I think, Tucker, the real question is equally on the other side as well for the conservative movement to ask ourselves. What is the real enemy today? And it isn't 1980 anymore. It isn't just big government. It is the, you talked about, there's a joke about an unholy marriage earlier on the show. It's the unholy marriage of big government and big tech and big business that we really ought to take aim at.
It's totally right. Way scarier than anything we faced before. But I appreciate your coming on. I know we'll see you again.
Thank you.
So as we told you, Joe Biden, newly the president, speaking for the first time in primetime. We haven't been carrying the infomercial all night, but we want to dip in quickly to his remarks because it's news.
Dignity and respect, and unite against common foes, hate, violence, disease, and hopelessness. America's story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us, on we the people. That's the
if he was that energetic, man, he might be passable.
This looks like it's been
no, what I do, all right, so Moonsock, what I do is I speed everything up. I try to squeeze it as much as I can, and so it comes out sped up like that because I want to get sometimes I can get 3 hours of shit in the 2 hour thing. So
I don't mind that at all. I'm just saying that Biden looks different here than he did at the inauguration. This looks like it was
and he's breaking his own law. He had just signed a executive order making it illegal to stand on federal property without a fucking mask on, and here he is,
Oh no!
Rules don't apply to the elite.
Exactly, man. Sending that message. Got to send that message. You know what I'm saying?
Please elaborate on how we are no longer allowed to petition the government.
Dude.
Oh, for those of you who would like to visit the White House website, please visit www.antifa.com. It no longer takes you to Biden's campaign page, but it directs you to the White House page. Also, They have removed our ability to create petitions to petition our government for certain things. That link is no longer there.
Oh, wow.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Yes.
but they did add the ability for you to say what your pronouns are.
Yes, they have added many different options for gender, and they use gender neutral language, and we are in a better America now. You're welcome.
Ask before us. The only way we'll get through the darkness around us. There are moments in our history when more is asked of us as Americans. We saw that in the Civil War. We saw that with Dr. King dreaming from these steps across the mall. We are in one of those moments now. The pandemic, economic crisis, racial injustice, the climate crisis, and threats to our very democracy. And the question is, are we up to it? Will we meet the moment like our forebears have? I believe we must, and I believe we will. You, the American people, are the reason why. I've never been more optimistic about America than I am this very day. There isn't anything we can't do if we do it together. And that's what you'll see tonight. Stories of ordinary Americans who do extraordinary things. That's how we'll celebrate America. And respect and represent America in our time in office. America built of decency. It's built of decency and dignity, of love and healing, of greatness and goodness, of possibilities. This is a story that guides us, inspires us, and unites us today and always. So thank you for this honor. I will give my all to you.
Nope.
May God bless America, and may God protect our troops.
Does he have evil looking?
Celestial lines are favorite of God bless America, God bless
Evil looking eyes. They just look black.
They're blank. They're holes. They're avarice. They're nothing.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson. Tonight is Joe Biden's first day in.
All right, check this out. This is great. This is the best opening always.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson. Tonight is Joe Biden's first day in office, and you know what that means. CNN can finally take that COVID death ticker off the screen. There's no reason for it now. It's not like you can blame Joe Biden for some Chinese virus that escaped from a lab in Wuhan. That wouldn't be fair. Come on now. CNN dutifully removed it this morning. COVID deaths? Settle down, America. It's just a bad flu season. Joe Biden apparently agrees. He and his family were photographed in Washington last night without masks.
Yes, they did, man.
Oh my God.
He rides CNN like a cheap dime store pony. You know what I'm saying?
But not a big deal, explained his flack today. Quote, he was celebrating a historic day in our country. We have bigger things to worry about. Okay, makes sense. By the way, what are those bigger things that Joe Biden is worrying about? Well, since this happens to be Joe Biden's maiden day on the job, we can actually answer that question with some specificity. You can tell what people care most about by what's at the top of their to-do lists. At the top of Joe Biden's to-do list were two things: opening the borders and crushing our country's last remaining independent economic sector. So that's what he's doing. First, Biden signed an executive order revoking the permit for the Keystone XL pipeline. Now, no matter how you feel about fossil fuel, and if you drive a car or fly on airplanes or use the hospital or enjoy electricity, you might want to think carefully about how you feel about fossil fuel. There is no question, and there's no getting around the economic effect of this decision. Millions of Americans don't have jobs right now. But with a single shaky signature, Joe Biden just put another 11,000 people out of work in this country. Just like that.
Joe Biden needs to reconsider his decision immediately. Think about this. On Joe Biden's first day in office.
Think about this. On Joe Biden's first day in office,
thousands of people received a notice that they've been laid off of their job. These are jobs, good paying jobs, $80,000, $90,000 a year, $30, $40 an hour jobs are laid off. Sometimes it seems abstract that a pipeline in North and South Dakota moving oil and gas from Canada to the United States could impact Wisconsin workers. But as you stand here at Michael's today, as you stand and look at the men behind me, these are the type of workers that lost their job this week. Joe Biden needs to reconsider this action immediately. We need to have good-paying jobs in the United States of America. We need to have good-paying jobs here in Wisconsin. Not only is it impacting jobs, it has a huge impact on our foreign policy. We need to have a North American supply of oil and gas. Joe Biden's decision makes us more dependent on the Middle East, more dependent on Russia, more dependent on Venezuela for our supply of energy. I find his decision disgusting.
No, that must be Portland.
It's Seattle. Yeah,
We're out here specifically tonight and last night because lots of people think that since Joe Biden is president, things are like better, things are okay now, they don't have to do anything. We want to show that we don't believe that. We're not going to get complacent. We're still going to try to help people as much as possible, no matter who's president.
Why are you out here? What are you passionate about? I'm passionate about reform. I'm passionate about changing things and believing in change. I'm passionate about abolishing places that put kids in cages.
Having Joe Biden as president doesn't change things for you?
Nope.
How come?
because it's still president, it's still government. It's not gonna change. I mean, Kamala Harris is still a cop. Joe Biden is still the president. It's not gonna change.
But he has a different philosophy towards different things.
It's still the same political system, and the system that is the issue. I'd like to see complete change.
What are the main issues for you?
Immigration, education, and defunding the police.
I want to see Medicare for all. I want to see funding pulled away from police departments and funneled into organizations within communities that actually help build up the communities, rehabilitation centers for people who have addictions, communities where the houseless can get off of the streets and get back on their feet and be able to live in homes instead of in tents. Immigration is, to me, a non-issue. We are in a world of absolute abundance. There is so much wealth in this country that is not being distributed to the people. It is being hoarded by a small percentage of people who exploit their workers. And there's no reason for people to be told that they can't come here when we have...
How much did she have to blow in college to get that shoved up her butt? that attitude. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree with her on one thing. We need to redistribute more food. There's hungry people. The first batch of food that we should redistribute is cut her feed in half so that maybe she can lose some weight and let somebody else eat for a change.
Indeed.
Ration that bitch, yeah. I agree with Rosen.
Yeah.
This guy just wants
There are so many empty houses in this country. There are so many empty apartment buildings, but there are so many people who are living on the street because they can't afford to pay that bill. And I don't think that's reasonable. I don't think it's rational, and I don't think it's moral at all.
But with Joe Biden as being president, that doesn't change your mindset at all. Like in terms of
until I see the tangible changes that come with his administration, I keep him at an arm's length. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party are two branches of the same tree, and I think that we need a forest.
So some people thought with having Biden as president.
See, this guy's asking her, aren't y'all?
Fuck you, bitch. We aren't.
Aren't you going to stop now that Biden's president? You know, that's what he's asking her. Aren't you going to stop now that Biden's president? Because, Orange Man's gone.
Well, fuck her and the cutting down the forest. The Tree of Liberty will never fall. Fuck her.
Yeah, fuck her.
It's all good, guys. The Hill did an article on Trump and what he did today. They made sure to point out that he spent the day playing golf because, it fucking matters what former presidents are doing.
Right. I wonder what Obama did.
They're not going to get off his balls.
Dude, do you imagine this is probably the first day that man has slept in 6 fucking years?
That's what I was telling you before. I mean, yeah, that's what I was saying before.
Indeed.
He woke up early and made a phone call to his DC hotel and told them that anybody that's on security detail, whether the Capitol Police or National Guard, they can come in and get a free meal and chill out in the lobby so that they can at least have someplace halfway comfortable where they can recharge their devices.
Okay. Because I know he offered the rooms, and they said, well, they're still deployed, so they can't use those rooms.
Assholes.
That you wouldn't see the type of protesting we saw last night and the violence that came with it and the vandalism.
I think that those people need to look at Joe Biden's records of how he has voted on certain laws in Congress and Kamala's history as a prosecutor and a cop, and realize that there's absolutely no reason based off their histories and their policies that we would stop those protests because they still defend the things that we are fighting against. It's not boo Donald Trump, boo Republicans. It's boo funding the police, boo police brutality, and boo an unjust system.
And what do you make of the vandalism that occurs?
She's been arrested like 6
I don't do vandalism
times.
myself, but destruction of property is a fundamentally American form of protest dating back to the Boston Tea Party, and I'm not here to tell somebody else how to protest.
Do you think there should be?
No. She's a streamer for the area, guys.
I think it's up to the individual. If that is what you think you have to do to get your point across and show your government that that's where you stand, then by all means, you do you.
The trademark.
I've seen some vandalism that is absolutely gorgeous street art. I've seen some that the penmanship leaves something to be desired, but it's not my place to police someone's protest.
But busting out windows and breaking glass.
Septum ring. She's missing that trademark septum ring.
In comparison to the issues that we are protesting, those seem like very small problems to me. There is a lot of anger and rage, and there's a lot of hopelessness in people my age and people.
Well, she probably took it out, because they might get in a fight.
Did. No, she had one until the mask mandate in June, and almost everybody with septum rings in this crowd took them out after the mask mandate went in because you get a fucking infection.
Yeah, no shit.
I know who feel like no matter how you vote, no matter what you do, they're not listening. A riot is the language of the unheard.
Good morning, I'm Diane Macedo. Thanks for streaming with us. In today's update, it looks like former President Trump's Senate impeachment trial will begin on Tuesday. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi plans to deliver the article of impeachment to the Senate on Monday. The Constitution states the trial must start the following day. The structure of the full trial is still being negotiated. President Biden has signed 10 executive actions aimed at fighting COVID-19, including a mask mandate for interstate planes, trains, and buses. International travelers will also be required to get a negative COVID test before coming to the U.S. and to quarantine on arrival. And Biden's using the Defense Production Act to order private companies to manufacture needed supplies like swabs, masks, and specialized syringes. This as Dr. Anthony Fauci made his return to the White House briefing room, addressing concerns over the new variants emerging in Brazil, South Africa, and the UK.
Paying very close attention to it. But right now, from the reports we have, literally as of today, it appears that the vaccines will still be effective against them.
The CDC says of the nearly 38 million distributed vaccine doses, only 17.5 million have been administered, but many cities are reporting.
Y'all believe him? You know, I'm not real confident in what he just said. Just saying.
I don't believe any of these fucking people.
Yeah.
Reporting shortages. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio is now asking the federal government for permission to use second doses as first doses. And the U.S. recorded its second highest weekly death toll since the pandemic started. More than 21,000 Americans lost their lives to COVID-19 this week alone. But the COVID Tracking Project reports there are indications the country is moving in the right direction. The rates of new cases, hospitalizations, and deaths are easing. As that new variant of COVID-19.
Yeah, now that Orange Man gone, we can start saying that the deaths are starting to get better.
We can start crediting the COVID deaths to any other conditions that they might have had that contributed to their death instead of calling a heart attack a COVID-related death because they were exposed to the virus and had the virus particles in their nose.
Well,
clearly, no illness. It was their heart attack that killed him, but yeah, that's COVID death.
Well, okay, the cop that got hit in the head with the fire extinguisher and died, do you know that his wife kept putting out posts saying that her husband died from complications of a pre-existing condition and not from getting hit in the head?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I had heard that. I think from you last week.
Yeah, like it was all over Facebook, and then the screen caps of it got put everywhere, and then Facebook deleted the post.
Of course.
And it ended up all over Gab.
Yeah. Basically shit like the truth getting in the way of,
Takes hold here in the U.S. Many are asking what new safety measures are needed to protect themselves against it. Becky Worley has the details.
I wanted to say something.
COVID hygiene. Wash, mask, distance.
I just remembered. Okay, so we have delivered something like 35 or 36 million doses across America. Guess how many we've administered, guys?
Rough 3 or 4 million?
16 million. 16 million. We've actually distributed less than half, and now they're talking about shortages in New York. How?
Well, I mean,
because the clinics that are running in New York are pulling the same kind of bullshit that they're pulling in LA. They're laying out enough frickin' vaccine without adequate facilities to keep the vaccine chilled in case people don't show up until they actually need it. And then not everybody is showing up for their frickin' appointment. So they're wasting hundreds, if not thousands, of doses that were out too long and are no good anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So how much is that costing the American taxpayer?
It's costing the taxpayer a lot, but it's costing the country as a whole more, because the more of these doses of vaccine that are bottlenecked in production supposedly are wasted, the longer it's going to take for everybody to get vaccinated in the United States, and the longer it's going to take for the rest of the world to get vaccinated, because the United States is actually quite a ways ahead of the rest of the world as a whole in getting vaccinated. The countries in Africa, the countries in the Middle East, there's a lot of countries out there that do not have any production facilities for these vaccines. They don't have any capacity to make them, so they're going to have to ship it in. And I guarantee you that none of the countries in the Western world are going to be shipping vaccine anywhere until they get a significant portion of their population vaccinated.
Exactly.
Which means that more people are going to get sick, and unfortunately, even with the low death rates that come from COVID, more people are going to die while these guys are fiddle fucking around, not providing for proper containment and storage of these vaccines until they need them.
Yeah, but Cuomo, he ordered the fucking PPE and the ventilators, when it first came out, in February, where they kissed Trump's ass, and then he got that shit, he fucking put that back away. had a fucking boat in the fucking, you know, hospital beds galore, the Javits Center and fucking Central Park. And
Oh yeah,
you know, and it was like, and people got sicker, and they didn't use any bit of that shit, nothing. So
the boat that they sent to New York Harbor and the one that the sister ship that they sent to L.A. Harbor, those boats were not supposed to be used for anybody that had COVID. They were supposed to provide a place for people who had not been exposed to COVID to be able to seek medical treatment, because once COVID gets on board those ships, they're going to be a cast iron bitch to disinfect them.
Yes.
Well, no doubt. They didn't even think of it that way. That's crazy, though. All right,
Yeah,
let's
that's what Mercy and Comfort were for, was to provide overflow capacity for patients that didn't have COVID, so the mainland hospitals could concentrate on the disease.
Right, they never needed them.
Oh, dude. Okay. Oregon already has all their nursing homes vaccinated. It's already done.
That's crazy.
Whole state done.
But with the CDC warning this new variant could sweep the country, what should we do differently? Scientists still don't know exactly what makes the UK variant more contagious, but
These mutations all seem to point towards a more contagious version of this virus. This is probably because people who are infected with these particular variants are shedding more virus. And so there's more virus coming from one person and able to infect another person.
Or maybe the virus is more effective at infecting our cells. Whatever the reason, behavior matters now more than ever. So masks, should we be wearing different ones? CDC recommended cloth masks still work. The trick, using it consistently. But experts say it never hurts to don a mask with more layers. At the inauguration, we saw people in these KF94 masks and also KN95s. These masks have between 3 and 5 layers of filtration. They also create more breathing space in front of the mouth for comfort. While true N95 masks are still being earmarked for medical professionals, these alternative standards, once difficult to find, are now more available. Amazon offering 7 pages of KN95s. Another option, double masking. Also on display in the Capitol, a move experts say is good to do whenever possible.
Another thing you can do is if you have a disposable mask, one of these...
Why aren't these people being singled out like Trump was for doing stuff that's not advised? Right?
Like double masking? Because double masking is actually really fucking dangerous. Do you
It's
know what kind of
stupid.
double barrier you're making for bacteria to grow?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody's taken any kind of biology or microbiology at all, you understand that a warm, dark, humid environment is the ultimate place for bacteria and virus to procreate. And if you think you're not creating a warm, dark environment between 2 fucking masks, you deserve
I'm not
carbon
going-
dioxide poisoning. I'm sorry.
I'm not going from wearing 0 masks to wearing 2. They can
Yeah, I'm
fuck
not.
off.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Fuck these people. This is insane.
Good job, Becca.
Surgical mask, you can put that mask on and then a cloth mask on top of it.
Only adds to the effectiveness of the filtration that's taking place, so long as it doesn't make it work so much that you can't
I
actually.
will say it was disconcerting to see yesterday, the first day of the Biden administration, straight out of the gate, President.
This is Pete Buttigieg is being questioned by the Senate for confirmation to be on the cabinet as the head of the Department of Transportation.
What the fuck is he supposed to know about it? He doesn't even drive.
Yeah, I know this. All right. Anyway, just check this out.
President Biden announced that he was canceling the Keystone Pipeline. That is a major infrastructure project.
Awesome.
That is a project that right now today has 1,200 good-paying union jobs. And in 2021, the Keystone Pipeline was scheduled to have more than 11,000 jobs, including 8,000 union jobs, for contracts worth $1.6 billion. And with the stroke of a pen, President Biden has told those 11,000 workers, those union workers, your jobs are gone. Mr. Buttigieg, what do you say to those workers whose jobs have just been eliminated by presidential edict?
Well, I think the most important thing is to make sure that we make good on the promise of the president's climate vision as being one that, on net, creates far more jobs, millions, we hope. I know that won't just happen. We'll have to do a lot of work to make sure that's real. But getting this right means ensuring that there are more good-paying union jobs for all Americans delivered through that infrastructure vision.
So for those workers, the answer is somebody else will get a job?
The answer is that we are very eager to see those workers continue to be employed in good-paying union jobs.
Because we're going to teach them how to code.
Union jobs.
You learn
Fuck
to
off
code.
with your union jobs.
Learn to code. That's what he's saying. He's telling them to learn to code.
Tell them, we're going to give them a different job. They're going to have to learn how to work on magnetic railways.
Right. Like maglev is a technology that we can sustain at this point in time without
How
using
are you going to
petrochemicals.
power it?
Exactly, man. Bingo. Exactly.
But that's one of those things they're really into.
How are you going to lubricate it? How are you going to insulate the wiring?
Everything comes from petroleum. People don't realize
petroleum
this shit.
products that go into a moving vehicle, any moving vehicle, as simple as a bicycle. The number of petroleum products that go into that just to make it work is staggering.
Everything you have
And
plastic
cutting
is
off the. Go
just,
ahead.
everything you have that's plastic. Just look around. All that came from fucking crude oil. Think about that shit, okay? And think about all right.
One plastic that doesn't come from crude oil, and it's that clear plastic that they use for food. That's made from cornstarch.
Oh yeah.
It's biodegradable,
right? And there's been stuff like Bakelite and stuff like that, but primarily everything the consumer grade, ketchup bottle, fucking nasal spray, whatever, man. It's all petroleum based shit,
Yeah, especially the medical.
Yeah, it's I hate to tell people that, but think about that. So you're gonna have to have a plastic handle to pull down on something. Where's it going to come from?
Signal.
You can't.
It's one big virtue signal.
Exactly.
And
It's it's a hand job. Exactly. Bingo.
The oil's going to come in. It's going to come in from the exact same place where it's coming out of the ground right now. It's just not going to come in on the pipeline, which means that it will come in on trains. That's the other way that you ship oil over land. Trains, on average, spill 3 times the pollution that pipelines do. They don't make as big a spill when they have a spill, but they're having spills constantly.
But and you can't have like shit like facts, get in the way of fifis making people feel good. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's roll. We'll keep it on,
even if they might be different ones.
Well, I fear that decision is the front end of a whole series of regulatory decisions, one after the other, that will be eliminating.
Just filed articles of impeachment on President Joe Biden. We'll see how this goes.
Count to 3. 1, 2. You killed it. Yes.
He's getting his friend's telephone.
Fucking guy, man.
Oh my God.
He's gonna die. What is he doing?
He's getting his friend's telephone.
Don't pull him yet.
All right, and all right. So I want to show everybody this. All right, let's see. We got a bit.
We are less than 24 hours from an inauguration of a new president. Give me a word or phrase to describe the United States of America the day before we have that inauguration. Harold.
Listen to this.
Turmoil. Camille.
Seeking solutions.
Jim.
Divided.
Lisa.
Deceased.
Deceased. Oh my God.
Amen.
Stephen.
Lost.
Kimberly.
Polarized.
Divided.
Spencer.
Delusional.
This is awful. This is awful. But Lisa, yours is worst of all because you said deceased.
I believe deceased. Well, because I do believe the election was stolen. I don't believe there will ever be another free and fair election again in this country, which means there will be absolutely no voice for the people. The Constitution is going. If it's not been ready, it's already up in flames. It'll be gone by noon tomorrow. And
Spencer, I'm watching your face. I'm looking at you, shaking your head, and explain to me what's going through your head right now as you listen to Lisa.
How appropriate my word delusional was. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
You have people who have chosen to completely ignore facts and reason for fantasy and wild delusion.
That's not true.
Really?
Yeah. That is not true.
I think he's absolutely right.
100% agree.
Yes.
You too. That is
That
not true. We're looking at the facts on the ground, and
What
Biden has
facts?
already agreed.
What facts
He's
do you
going
need
to
to
pack
see?
the courts. He's
What
going
facts
to
do you
pack
need
the
to see
courts.
other than the courts and the state?
He's going to pack the courts.
Court
He's going to
hasn't
bring
said
in
anything.
regulation. He's going to bring in regulation that's going to strangle business. He's going to do things through the bureaucracy of the government. He's going to change the rules in Congress so that Democrats will be able to steal elections from this point forward. And just look at House Resolution Bill number 1. Look at House Resolution Bill number 1. Before you laugh at me, you need to read what Nancy Pelosi is proposing in her very first
Tell me
bill.
what was done to steal the election. I didn't even know that. Does somebody tell me that? Because 60 courts have already knocked it out.
Election night.
I have worked for the GOP. I have never in
Do
my
they
life
look like a bunch of
not voted
crackheads to
straight
anybody
party
else?
ticket, and I voted.
What?
They sound like a bunch of fucking crackheads the way they're complaining at each other. There's
Yeah.
only 2 or 3 people that are talking like rational individuals, and everybody else is just being incendiary.
Well, just remember, this is a focus group.
Spencer needs to be hit upside the head with this fucking
in December
drink.
because the
Okay?
conversation that's going on right now
Smack.
is embarrassing.
Shut the fuck up.
Embarrassing.
Republicans are and that woman who's rocking back and forth, she looks like she's like, oh my god, I need my happy space because I'm so distraught right now.
And in California's got a gimbal, so we know the IRL streamer is here. All right, I'm gonna. All right, so basically, that just 30 minutes of that, of them just like, man, it's a snapshot of what's going on in our country, right? This ain't good. This is not good.
I've got a lot of patience, but I don't have that much patience.
No shit. All right, I want to get to something before we. All right, so we covered Biden's first full day. Of course, you know, the EU and all these people call in, blowing Biden. Well, blah, blah, blah. Welcome back. We put things back the way they're supposed to be because, Orange Man fucked it up. And then there's some. All right, so this scene here, all right, for a minute, if you'll just watch, all the military people are like paying attention to Kamala Harris, and they totally ignoring Biden, and I'm going, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's fucking weird because they keep talking about Harris. Did you know she was sworn in? I didn't see the inauguration, but she was sworn in before Biden.
Yeah.
Was she?
The vice president is usually sworn in before the president.
Okay, I thought it was the other way around.
Did they
No,
not?
it's usually-
Was her hand not on a Bible when they did that too?
All right, now this is my hot take from the whole 9 hours of the fucking inauguration, okay? We know Lady Gaga had the dress on, Hunger Games, blah, blah, blah. All right, it's a good joke.
I missed all that.
Oh, dude, you didn't miss
Me
nothing.
too.
Did you see the Hunger Games? Imagine a big red dress on Lady Gaga with a goddamn giant bird from the Hunger Games. And that's what she had on her, a golden bird. All right, now here.
Thank you for an idea to fill my weekend, though. All right, we can watch the Hunger Games.
All right, and before they all right, after everything, they're going to get into I guess the limo, and and head out, right, and get ready for the party and shit, and maybe take a nap, because I think Pawpaw needs a nap.
Did you see how colorless the people are dressed? Everybody's wearing black and gray except for some blue.
Yeah, these are all military, right, and so we got to.
How dare those band members not wear masks while they play?
All right. The reason, all right. So the reason is coming up that the reason I put this here is for just this one part, man. This is weird.
Why the fuck is Biden? That is a weak ass salute, dude.
Flat.
He's not even doing it right.
Of
He
course,
never
he's not
served.
doing it right.
It was
Look
never
at this.
taught and trained.
Look at that flag.
In government, and you don't know how to salute correctly?
That's the EU flag. Why are they carrying the EU flag?
That's a good question.
Whoa.
Dressed as
Actual fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I superimposed that just because I'm slick.
What the actual fuck?
Because he's turning
I'm
us over
sorry.
into
The EU flag. You're talking about the blue flag with all the stars on it?
Yes. God damn it. What is it?
That's not the EU flag.
What is it?
That flag bears the seal of the President of the United States.
Okay. Oh. It looks a lot like
that's
the
EU flag.
Where is that? The blue one with the gold on the tassels?
The sky blue one with the gold on the tassels. That one looks like the EU flag, but the dark blue one, that is the presidential flag.
No, that's the one I was talking about. The light blue, the one with the light blue background.
Okay, these people are out fucking side. Take off the goddamn masks.
Oh no, you now have to wear one on federal property at all times.
All right,
whoa. Their houses.
Demo.
What? Sorry.
Go your heels, chick.
I was just curious.
Just listen. Notice that it's blue and red, and the Democrat blues are the patriots, and the redcoats, the bad guys, are red, like Republican. Just wanted to point that out. Just like, yeah, it's Crips and Bloods, man. I mean, literally.
It's retarded, yeah.
It is retarded as fuck.
It's like, are we the baddies?
Yes. I still want to know what families are supposed to do if they live.
All right, now, all right, and we'll run this until the end. All right, this last part, and
so I'm out on call 41.
all right, this was given to me by a source. All right, and I was asked to not reveal the source, so I'm not going to reveal the source. But this person, this is shit that they shot somewhere in Georgia. They name a street crossing, but there's like several versions of that all over the state. That state's got so many fucking roads named the same thing as retarded. It really is. And listen to this.
Because I'm seeing all of these bands that have Black Power or We Got Power. It's about us. Join the movement. And it's not just two bands, it's all of these white bands that are here that are passenger bands. All of them are transit bands. See all those? And then we got more. All these are transit bands that are here for some reason. Don't know why.
That's a shit ton of bands.
And Highway 41. Winnebago. More.
Maybe because vans are less obtrusive than
Doesn't
buses.
matter, you matter, we matter.
And, yeah,
And a couple, three more back there.
It's not an organization, though. It's just an idea.
North Carolina.
Yeah, this is what got me was where they're from, because
North Carolina.
you don't think that they would have driven people in from out of state to vote in that
No.
in that fucking runoff, right?
Louisiana. From Florida, over there.
Louisiana, Florida.
South Carolina. Let's see what else we got. Not making no sense. Another Georgia, Florida over there. Another Georgia. And probably another Georgia. Anyway, this is a old vacuum place. Used to be vacuum cleaners. He gets them all. And I think he's been out of business for a while. Anyway, just thought I'd show you what's going on.
All right.
Bought and paid for by George Soros. All right, now this dude is in Idaho. All right, and this is his footage.
This is when you know COVID-19 has gotten to everyone's head. Sitting here in Caldwell, Idaho, trains going by. You know, those are all.
He thinks it's related to the coup. I don't think so.
Tanks. No. Not even kidding.
Those are M1s.
Whole.
And now.
Line of tanks.
Bradleys.
Yeah. It's pretty freaking nuts.
Right behind them.
Not my way, Care Bear. This is up
Nope, we're not in the Eastern Bloc of Russia. Idaho.
No, if they did,
I
they would
see
have,
this all the
have
time.
shitty tanks. You do?
I see this all the time. Our trains that come through our town have all kinds of military vehicles and equipment that they're shipping back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say out this way it's most likely there's one of the hospital ships is up by Portland somewhere. And there's a couple of bases I think up this way. And they move stuff around all the time. I'm betting this is all to get ready to go back into places that Trump pulled us out of.
Yeah, Iraq. Well, yeah, we've already moved people into Syria. There's been 2 bombings in Iraq.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the war's
And we only
back.
have the closest base that we have is Ellington Field. It's about 30 minutes away from me, and then we have a very, very small Coast Guard base.
I'll just mute it now. Those are
Well,
Brad.
no.
Those are Bradleys there.
It's like you shouldn't be alarmed. It's not because of the coup. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's just because the neocons have gotten power again.
And our production has been way up on military equipment since Trump has been in office. So they've got to ship them around and send them somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. It was really weird how they had everybody amassed in all the cities, though. That was fucking freaky, and I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Kept making me think something big and bad was gonna fucking happen.
Yeah. So, man, Moonshock, you made it through the gauntlet.
Hey, it was great.
Okay.
This is a really nice. It's not as mind-meltingly mundane articles that we would get on the corner when Frost is reading stuff from Medium and all that kind of shit. So it's a good separation between the two, because with the Cream Stream here, at least you guys are talking about shit that's just, oh my god, I can't believe how stupid this shit is. And whereas over there, you're just like, I just want to blow my fucking brains out.
Yeah, no shit, man. Yeah, I know that's right. Well,
No,
well,
that's tomorrow.
right, and these this last, I mean, like since I don't know what October to now has been pretty much, all news oriented shit. Usually, what we used to, back in the day, would have a nice news segment, and then we'd have like Russian, car crashes, and try to, and try to provide a little bit more, of a comical kind of thing. And, the yeet gun is pointed at all of our heads. And, you know what I'm saying? So it's either gonna, I might as well go out with the, with the bang. So we're going to keep trying to do crazy shit on this show.
That's fine.
Yes.
I would definitely do this again if you ever wanted me on, because this was fun. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit.
Good deal. All right, so it's time that we chill out. Everybody chills out, and since you're the guest, go first, Moonshock.
Well, at this moment in time, I have no content on my channel. However, I'm going to be sometime soon. I'm going to be assisted by Gamer Valine. She's going to go ahead and help me get my my Twitch stuff set up so I can stream gaming, because I played many different games, from 7 Days to Die to Subnautica to having SimCity, Dawn of Man. I'm hoping that I would be able to stream and get people to watch me on my Twitch channel. So it's I'll go ahead and put my Twitch in the chat. I mean, you don't have to subscribe, of course, but if you ever wanted to watch me playing games poorly, feel free. So yeah, that's about it for me, and I'm hoping I might be able to stream on both Twitch and YouTube, but other than that, that's pretty much everything I've got.
Groovy. All right, Timma, sound off.
This is Atema the Hun. You can find me on YouTube, and pretty much Gab is the only other place I go now. That's really, though, THOUGH, not THO, is my handle. And then Saturday, I don't know if we're doing an accelerated deconstruction, but I think we are.
I've got one scheduled, so you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Moonshock, you're talking about wanting to blow your fucking brains out. That's where we do that.
Oh God! Holy shit! Yeah, it makes me it drives me crazy. Becca, what you got coming up?
Another episode of Fairly Just Becca tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and then Sunday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Sweet. All right, let's see. Roasted?
I've got a video in the works right now. I'm trying to do a breakdown on all of the things that Biden proposed for this latest round of stimulus, and pointing out some of the things that really aren't going to work.
Right. Trippypoop.
Yeah, cool.
Trippypoop.
What is it? Yep. I just got I think we're doing a game show Sunday, actually, on my channel. I think maybe we're gonna do something funny. The Cap's coming on Sunday. So yeah, that's what I'm chilling for.
Funzo. Sounds good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, and this is Irate Prostate. It's my channel, right? And on this channel, this here channel, tomorrow night, we don't know about the accelerated deconstruction. It might be a whipped cream. You never know. Just depending. Cool. Exactly. Sunday it'll be Serenity Star 13 is going to be my guest. We're going to have some fun, yeah. And then Monday, Beck and I are going to try to not get yeeted, and look at some stuff about Venezuela. Oh man,
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah,
Venezuela is close enough to home and in my lifetime. So
here, indeed. Maybe you can school me on the shit then, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we got, people. And on that note, let's go ahead. I'll run the intro and call it an outro. Everybody, let's say goodbye. Wave.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
We'll see y'all later. Yep. Good night, JP. Hey, thanks for the donos. Appreciate it big time. Thanks everybody for coming. It was awesome. I had fun.